essentially, as they say on Twitch, raid the DPS channel. I'm going to redirect all of us, take us all to the channel once Forte lets me know that he's ready for that.
The house is ready.
Is it live?
Yes, the house is ready. I have all of the utensils on the table. The bathrooms are clean. I took the trash out.
Really?
Yeah, we got the plates and stuff at the table ready for you.
I don't see the. Let me see if I can find it right. Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay, so look, we're going to switch over to there, and then we're also going to kind of keep things going. Hopefully, this is not going to be janky. So just man, yeah, we're going to get that done. And how do I do this? Wait, okay, I did the redirect. Do I just end the stream? Is that it? You don't know Forte, right?
I don't know. I haven't done it yet.
All right, but look, once we transition over there, if you have not subbed to the Damage Per Second channel, just sub to the channel now that you're there, and then we'll kind of keep the show going. And see you guys there.
Oh, there it is. Go now. Boom. I'm in the new stream.
Why did it? Okay. I hit go now, and it don't go now.
Oh, yours didn't go now?
It didn't go now. It's fine. It's fine. The Rich B Rick says link it in here. I think I'll find the link and put it in there too. But can they hear me?
They should be able to.
Okay, I see it now. I see it. Let's go ahead and do this final topic. I think this is a decent enough transition. Final topic of tonight. Microsoft has not had a great day. No, even worse than the day that Microsoft has had. The 1,900 developers that worked for Microsoft also have had an even worse day, because now they're out of a job. And what happened was Activision had laid those 1,900 people off. Most of them are laid off from Activision Blizzard King, which, if you're familiar with mergers and acquisitions, this is kind of something that does tend to happen. Like usually 10% of employees of a company that was acquired do end up getting laid off. By the way, please sub to the channel if you haven't already. We really, really appreciate that. Anywho, we want to have a heartfelt, our condolences to those who have lost their jobs. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear that's happening to people, and it really sucks, especially in the manner that it happened. And that's where I will absolutely give Microsoft some much needed smoke for, because you're already upending people's lives. Mm-hmm. At least do so in a respectful manner. And although I don't think it was intentional, or maybe it was, because Mike Ybarra's statement, I'm going to get to Mike Ybarra, seemed pretty planned. So it seemed like he knew what was going down.
He knew it was happening.
But a lot of other people did not. And there are developers who worked there who were made known that they were being laid off because their Slack account no longer worked, or through social media. There are people that found out their team entire team was getting laid off through social media. Stuff like that should not be happening. I should not be knowing that these people don't have work before they know they don't have work. It's disrespectful. But Included with that, as I mentioned before, Mike Ybarra, formerly the president of Blizzard, has left the company, along with the chief technology officer. I think his Alan Adland. I need to get his last name correct. I apologize for that. He's another executive who has also left the company. And in case the hits haven't been enough already, here's another one. The highly anticipated yet unannounced Blizzard survival game called Odyssey has been canceled. A game that's been in development for 6 years. Canceled. Before you go, a couple of things I want to clear up, because it seems like there were some things that Matt Booty has said and things that were put out there that were not fully 100% the truth. One, Matt Booty had a statement that he said he came out with, and which is rare because Matt Booty rarely speaks. I mean, his Twitter account hasn't had an update since 2019, October 2019. But Matt Booty, with a statement, says, in addition to the events today, Mike Ybarra and I have been discussing his future and some of his personal passions for some time. As many of you know, Mike previously spent more than 20 years at Microsoft. Now that he has seen the acquisition through as Blizzard's president, he has decided to leave the company. Now, that's a pretty typical PR statement. But let's go to what Jason Schreier said. It's not funny. But I'm laughing because it's like, are you serious? Jason Schreier said that back during BlizzCon, he had a conversation with Mike Ybarra, and Mike Ybarra said they would have to drag me out of Blizzard. I have no intention of going anywhere. Kind of curious. Did they have to drag him out? What do you think, Forte?
Ooh. Man, it's kind of hard because he seemed very vehement that he wasn't going anywhere, and then all of a sudden, then there's a huge change in tone. I always heard that there was always a lot of bad blood between Xbox or Microsoft or Xbox and Mike Ybarra. That's why he left the first time around. And a lot of
Heard that as
people,
well.
and a lot of people were always wondering how he felt the moment that the news came down that Xbox was in the business of purchasing Activision Blizzard. You know, him having to come back. And it seemed like he was doing very well with the overall transition in general. I mean, I guess when you got billions and billions of dollars and millions of dollars in buyouts in place, you definitely gonna toe the line you need to. But a lot of people already knew, and this doesn't take away the fact that, you know, people lost their jobs. But I also think a lot of people knew this was going to happen at some point, because there's a lot of redundancies that are happening between, you know, Xbox and Blizzard, Activision Blizzard overall. Still doesn't make this any better of a scenario that's happening. But I do think that Mike kind of probably saw this on the wall the closer and closer that this acquisition came to being. And once the decision was made that Bobby Kotick wasn't going to be there anymore, once the decisions that were being made about everything else and how Call of Duty was going to be handled, and how they restructured, you know, Sarabon and Matt Booty being over all the stuff, and you never heard anything about Mike Ybarra's name in any of that. It just, and if you remember, Greg, I always heard that one of the reasons he was leaving because of the advancement. He felt like there was like no upward trajectory for him in his career, and he felt like he was being passed over for a lot of things. You know, that's all speculative, but that was kind of the things I was hearing in the background. And it kind of seemed like that was kind of happening again when just the conversation of all of the moves that were happening to put key Xbox people in place, and you never heard his name come up in any of that type of stuff. So that
That's
might have
very true.
so that might have triggered something. Maybe he was in line up until that point, but once he started seeing these moves happen and nothing and his names weren't attached to any of it, it probably brought back the things that he was kind of disgusted with the first time he was around. So Xbox definitely, or Microsoft definitely isn't going to win any awards for any of the moves they're making today. But I do think Mike Ybarra, him specifically, I think his is more motivated just off his past of dealings with Xbox and Microsoft, not really due to what's going on with ABK in general in itself. Because I think a lot of people knew that was going to happen, and they knew it was going to be a very, very dark day the day it did happen.
I would say this, like, yes, you're gonna have redundancy. So you had a company that was running independently before, and now they're no longer independent. You own them, and so there's certain things that you may not need. You may not need the legal teams that they had. You may not need certain customer service things. Although it seems like from what I'm seeing is that they laid off the entire internal customer service team that Activision Blizzard King had, and apparently though they were very good, and now they may be outsourcing that kind of work, which people are not happy about.
Right.
Something else that I need some clarification on, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful to anybody on the Xbox side of things, but I do believe that the marketing teams at Activision Blizzard King are really kind of top in the class when it comes to the video game industry and how they have marketed the games that this publisher has had and how well they are marketed. And I think that things that we always complain about with Xbox marketing, about mixed messaging, about not really staying on message, not really conveying the message that you're trying to deliver to gamers in a way where they get where you're coming from. That's something that they need work with, and that would be a redundancy. But if that's a redundancy that you feel like rectifying, it should be rectified more in the opposite direction than in the direction towards laying off ABK people, because they're good at their job. Or
Right.
integrate them into the Seattle Xbox team. But you shouldn't be giving, just throwing away great talent. And this is a little bit more than a slight restructuring, or 8% of staff was let go, but when you got 15,000 people, that's a lot of people. Like it's nearly 2,000 people. I mean, that's literally like more than some publishers, more than some massive studios. That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
And I find it hard to believe that in just a short period of time, in just 3 months, you knew all the right people to get rid of. You knew all the right people that you could live without. I'm seeing developers who are saying, "Hey, I'm the quality assurance, the QA lead. I don't have a team anymore." Well, how is he supposed to make sure bugs get fixed? There's reported layoffs from the studios that maintain Call of Duty. It's the cash cow. How are you how is this redundant? That's not a redundancy, because that's staff that actually works specifically on a game. That's not a redundancy. I understand, even though I don't like it, that community managers are typically like the first to go. And they always kind of feel like, oh, you can always find somebody who speaks well, who's good at social media, who's got a great personality and speaks and knows how to talk to gamers well, yet has a tough skin. They're a dime a dozen. You can find anybody to do that. I know that's how they think, but I've seen some bad community managers before too. So it might not be as easy as they think it is. Regardless, another issue that I saw was about that survival game, Odyssey. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to be probably a little unpopular with that, but I'll get to the unpopular part second. The first part I want to say is there is a discrepancy, a big discrepancy on how that was done, because they canceled the game. And the initial statements that were in the press was the team that was working is almost 100 people, or maybe a little bit more than 100 people that were working on that survival game have been divvied up and then moved on to working on unannounced projects that they were trying to prototype. So in a way, it was kind of announcing they got games in the tuck they're working on. Okay. But then I saw a tweet, and this tweet was from Quiet VFX, who is a VFX artist that was working at Blizzard, working on the survival game. And she says the entire survival team just got laid off. She didn't say they got reassigned to something else. Laid off. I'll be radio silent while I sort out and feel my emotions before I figure out what's next. I loved working on this project with my team. It was the best thing I ever did in my career. I'm only sorry no one would get to see it. So what's the truth, man? Did you lay off? As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to ask because clearly she's got no reason to lie about whether she has a job or not. Y'all lied and said y'all reassigned these people to other projects, but the truth is that you laid them all off.
Right.
So what's good? That's the truth of the matter. And this part's going to be a little unpopular for some people, but I'm going to say it. I'm glad the game got canceled. I'm glad it's canceled because it looks like that game is going to be another Redfall. Never seen it. So I'm not basing that upon what I saw. I'm basing it upon the fact that they just dealt with Redfall last year. They said they're going to try to make sure that never happens again. They just acquired this developer. And when you get to the details, I would recommend everyone read Jason Schreier's article with Bloomberg. You get to the details of what happened with Odyssey. That's not a game that you think is going to be very successful. Here's a game, Forte, that had been in development for 6 years. It had been in development for 6 years already. Game should be launching at this point. It should be launching this year. It's been in development for that long. They had to reboot the game. Initially had an Unreal Engine 4 and found that they were not able to get the massive world and 100 players in it, even though Fortnite does it. But look, maybe it's visual fidelity and memory constraints and data streams or whatever were a little too more advanced than what Fortnite does. Okay. They couldn't get it running on Unreal Engine 4. So Blizzard told them to put the game on a different engine, a mobile engine called Synapses. But all the assets that they had already built in Unreal Engine don't work in Synapses. So they had all this additional work to do. And they kind of felt like, well, okay, look, we got 100 staff here. But in order for us to make it to get this game ready by 2026, which means this game would have been in development for 8 years, we need to double the staff that we have. So what does that say? I mean, that to me, that says cancel the game, bro. You've been spending how much time on this? It's not working out. So I'm fine with canceling it. Go ahead and cancel the game, but I'm not fine with laying off the entire team and then lying and claiming that you reassign these people to other projects. That's BS. You did not do that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, companies are always going to try to find a way to confuse the messaging around, just like they confuse the messaging around most things. They're going to definitely do it when it comes to layoffs and just cancellations of things like that. The fact that they came out and wanted to make it seem like they moved assets, they just moved priorities around, that they just wanted to cancel the game, but they basically just shuttered without shuttering a studio, they basically just shuttered the team that was working on it. And instead of just reassigning them to something else. But this is, I mean, the unfortunate thing is, it's like you said earlier, like we both said, um, part of me kind of wonders, like, how does Xbox, um, is Blizzard kind of paying for some of the mistakes that Xbox made when it came to other IPs like Redfall and stuff like that? Whereas they
Yeah,
feel, if
to
they
a
feel,
degree.
like, do
But
they?
are they really paying, or did they finally learn?
Well, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah. That's a whole nother thing too. Because at that point, but do you have to lay off an entire team to learn that lesson? Because we still got to come back to the biggest piece of this is the fact that Game Pass is still a thing, and it demands content, and you basically shuttering a team and canceling a game and possibly in laying those people off takes away some probably really good developers that you could have had that could have been moved over to other teams or formed into a different type of team to make something else. Even if that was something else, is it gonna come out for like 1 to 2 years, depending on what they theory board or what they come up with. I just feel like developers are at a premium right now, especially for Xbox because of the ecosystem that they are living in right now. And I feel like there's better ways they kind of could have kind of gone with that. But I definitely do think that games like Redfall definitely stirred the pot. Halo was like the beginning salvo, but I think once they saw that a game like Redfall also can go off that because they just weren't paying attention. You got it from Phil Spencer's mouth himself talking about we didn't pay attention to Redfall. We paid more attention to what was going on with Starfield, and
Oh, let me
Starfield
let
was the
me let
bigger
me
bet.
let me take some shots at Phil real quick. Just
Yeah, go
real,
ahead.
real quick. Like this is the guy he's the CEO of Microsoft Game, and he's a gamer. I mean, look,
Right.
my he got the simplest gamer tag in the world, P3, real easy to remember.
E3.
Everything open. Unlike some of these fanboys out here, whether you be Xbox guy or PlayStation guy who lock your trophy slash achievements,
You can
Phil's
see
stuff is
all his
open.
stuff is
So I
open.
know, even though that he could be playing a game that is that officially out yet, so you don't really know what the game is, but you see what he's playing.
Yeah.
Maybe Phil could have spent a little less time playing Vampire Survivors and a little bit more time checking out his own games.
Are you looking at his achievement list right now?
I mean, everyone knows the guy played like a gazillion hours in Vampire Survivors, but
He
all I'm
did.
saying
He
is
did play a
spend a
lot of
little less
hours.
time, spend a little less time on Vampire Survivors, a little bit more time looking at the product that you're supposed to be putting out, because you are a gamer, sir, and therefore you should be enjoying this should be the perfect job for you. You make product and enjoy said product at the same time. You should be loving what you do, and you should be loving your own games, because there's no reason why you wouldn't know that Redfall was going to be the garbage fire that it was, and no reason why you would go show up at Kind of Funny in the interview and say, well, hey, look, our internal mock reviews were trending more than double digits higher than where the game turned out to be. Why do you need mock reviews to tell you that, Phil? Matt Booty, why do you need mock reviews telling you how good your game's going to be? You got eyes and hands to pick up a controller. Find out yourself. And if you would rather play other games than your own games, what does that say?
Right.
All right, I'm off my soapbox. Continue.
No, you're fine. And I do think that is kind of part of the conversation too. It just ultimately really just comes back to a lot of decisions that Xbox has made that hasn't been probably thought out as best as it could be. And now I'm thinking other developers and other games are kind of being burned by that. Now the game might not have been in a good enough place for them to feel like we need to release this. Xbox does have the right now after owning, purchasing ABK to go in and look at it, be like, yeah, this ain't it, and it ain't gonna be ready anytime soon. But I also think that shoot, it sucks to have something that was in development for 5 to 6 years and just cancel it.
Right, and no one's ever going to play it. It's it's bad. It sucks, and I feel bad for for creatives, the people who were creating the game, who put their heart and soul in, and were really proud of the work they did, proud of their contribution to their project, and we're really looking forward to people being able to enjoy it and wanting to feel that dopamine hit when people played the game and said, "Man, those trees look amazing," and like, "Oh,
Right.
I made those trees," like that kind of feeling that they're never going to have because no one's ever going to play it because it's canceled. And although that sucks, on the business side of things, you can't have another Redfall.
Right.
They said when Redfall happened, we're gonna make sure that this doesn't happen again, even though Redfall wasn't the first time a Redfall happened. Because prior to Redfall, they were releasing games too early, games that were half baked, games that didn't have enough content, games that were buggy and just were unfinished. This is not like a one-off. It's things that they had done before. So when you have a habit of kind of doing things, people have an expectation of how you release your games. And if you want to change how that reputation is, you got to make sure this stuff doesn't happen anymore. And if Odyssey was trending towards Redfall, I fully understand why they said cancel this. But again, the claiming of reassigning people to other teams, but you laid off the whole staff, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Now, Forte,
Mm-hmm.
January isn't even over yet.
Right.
And somehow
yeah.
last year was the worst year when it comes to layoffs we have seen. Nearly 6,000 people have been laid off last year.
Remember,
And
last year started with Microsoft laying off 10,000 people.
Yeah.
It started in like February. So
But
here
a
we
lot
are.
of those people
full
weren't in
circle.
gaming. A lot of those people
No, that
were
was just
in
Microsoft as a whole. This is in game.
Yeah, this nearly 2,000 is strictly for Microsoft gaming.
Of the
But we're
22,000
already
people that are under the Xbox umbrella, 2,000 people
Yeah.
got laid off today, basically.
And we're already at 60% of the layoffs of 2023 have already occurred in January alone.
Yep.
I'm anticipating where the gaming industry is going to exceed the layoff numbers of last year, which is kind of hard to believe considering it was only 6,000 people last year. But when you're already at 2,000, more than that actually, because it came out today, the developer of Ruiner, I can't remember their name, but the developer of Ruiner had to lay off 80% of their staff, which was about 50, 60 people. There also were layoffs for, I believe, the support studio under Gearbox that did Tiny Tina Wonderland had layoffs as well in January. So we're well over 2,000, and it's going to. Well, do the math. 60% of the layoffs of 2023, we had nearly 6,000. So you can do the math on where we're at right now. So yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And hopefully in 2025 things will stabilize. The really unfortunate money chasing habits of the industry, where they saw all the potential revenue to generate during the pandemic, where people were stuck at home and people wanted consoles to play games. They were bored. They wanted things to do. They fully took advantage of that. They went on hiring sprees to make sure they could hit all that content. They could deliver on their revenue goals, and they did. And now that all that is over, now they're going back to quote unquote normal, which is laying off all those people and then some. So I don't know. Hopefully 2025 puts it into this crap. But whether you are someone who's kind of insensitive to these things, or someone who really cares and empathizes with these developers, I think all of us can
I mean,
come to a consensus that this is not good for the industry as a whole
I
to
mean,
lose all this
yeah,
talent.
yeah.
Because a lot of these people probably won't get back into gaming. And you got a lot of people here who have great talented people, a lot of experience. What's going to happen is a lot of those roles will get those refilled, but they'll be refilled with people who are far less experienced than the people that they let go, who are going to come in on far cheaper salaries and not be ready for the kind of work that they need to do that the previous people who had those roles were doing before. So
Pay for
good luck
talent.
to that. Right.
You definitely pay for talent. I do. The biggest thing is I do think that the unfortunate thing that comes from all this and all of the leaked information and all of the conversation around how much games cost and stuff, I do think that kind of plays a role in it to an extent because a lot of these studios look at how much the games cost them. And let's be for real, all these studios have a number, their break even point, but no one wants to just break even. They want that 15 to 20% extra profit on top of what they invested to basically make that money back. And I do think over the course, it's not going to happen in the middle of a year, but I do think when you get closer to the fiscal year of a company's year, I do think that based on how their games did over the course of that year, if you had a game that crushed your, exceeded profitability and stuff like that, it's a good chance that, you probably won't be touched. But it's also you're paying like your game might have helped another studio be open, but that doesn't save that studio from not going through a layoff like this. We got, PlayStation talking about studios that, they're going to close. We still don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's being rumored that there's this PlayStation studio coming up that's going to be closing. I can see um Epic going through another round again, depending on what happens with Fortnite. Right now, it's stabilized itself a little bit because they
I
went
heard
back
that
to the
rumor about a PlayStation studio possibly closing. It didn't. Which one? Media Molecule did
yeah, that's
Dreams,
the one,
right?
and that's the one, and that's the one I think it's going to be probably
I think it's probably Media Molecule as well. Yeah,
right. So
unfortunately,
yeah,
they should have
unfortunately,
put
but
Dreams
yeah,
on PC. I mean, I know a lot of people say that, but it's true. Dreams would have thrived on PC. But
yeah,
the thing about the mod scene on PC, take the people who are so creative and make mods on these games and give them the tools that Dreams had, man,
Pixelo,
it
yeah,
would have been great. It would have been great. But
yeah, Jimmy,
maybe that's something that's with them their focus on putting games on PC. Maybe Dreams is in the works and it can get a revival there. That would be great,
yeah,
but
that would be
I
great.
kind of doubt it.
But I also
Yeah.
think it just ultimately, and Jeff B. Gaming just said PlayStation already closed Pixel Opus, which yes, they did.
Yeah, but this rumor that they're closing another studio was something that has
Yeah,
come
this
out
is
since then.
since
So
then. Yeah, so and
yeah,
everybody's pretty much pointing at Media Molecule. But the biggest thing it's just listen, man, gamers are going to play the games they want to play. And we're starting to see that more and more and more now. People are falling back into the comfort zone of the games that they enjoy the most. I think I don't think the fad of these live service games or anything like that is kind of disappearing. I don't think that's the case because I do think they're here to stay. I think Fortnite is not going to go anywhere. Call of Duty Warzone's not going anywhere. Even Apex Legends to an extent, I don't think those games are going anywhere. But I do think that a lot of people are kind of getting tired of that and they're finding themselves going back to other games. But the thing is, now everybody's trying to find that game that speaks to them all over again. Because even for myself, I identify so much with like live service over the course of the last generation. I kind of stopped playing everything else. So now I'm trying to find my way back into it. But I'm very, very picky on the games that I'll play. There used to be a time that gamers would just buy a game just because they were interested in it. And games cost too much for us to do that on our end, but these games also cost too much for them to make on their end. So when games don't do as well as they need to do, they may not cut down on the highest end studio like a Naughty Dog or something like that, but that doesn't mean they won't sacrifice the lower end to like make that profit back in another way, because at the end of the day they still have to afford the things that they have to afford. It's just a sucky way of running a business, and it impacts people's lives to an extent where it's not fair. Because if we go back to not even 3 months ago, 4 months ago, when Bungie went through theirs, you know, laying off CMs and people that, moved from one part of the country to move out to Seattle to find out within 7, 8 months later, you don't have a job anymore because of decisions that were made way outside of your pay grade. But those people aren't affected by it, but you are. Those are the decisions that are being made every day. And guess what? Like you said, Slow-Mo, a lot of people are going to choose not to come back, because at a certain point, you are more valuable than what these companies say you are. And I tell my associates all the time, and I have this conversation with my wife every day when we talk about work, because, we're both in retail. People work for people. They don't work for corporations. But people will quit a job or leave a job because of a corporation's stupid things that they do. And these are things that will make people not want to come back to gaming and be as talented as they are, and they find their own way and do the things that they want to do their own way, because you can't trust big corporations to look out for you in the way that they used to look out for you back in the day, because everybody is looking on how they can make money back that they lost 2 to 3 years ago. And the demand of the games and the demand of the media that we play and participate in is astronomically higher than it used to be, and I don't see it going back anytime soon.
Yep. Yep. I think that's all we got, man.
Man, that was
Anything else you want
somber,
to you
man.
want to add?
We need to talk about something. I just got sad for a second, man. Oh my
Well, I mean,
god.
and nothing happy to discuss about people losing their jobs and layoffs like crazy.
So what do you think needs to happen going forward? And like layoffs have been a part of
What
the
they need to do
working
going
conglomerate
forward is
forever.
respect the employees they're laying off better. I don't think that like this could be avoided, but I don't like it the manner that it was done. I don't like the kind of very like poorly done lies. I hate to call Matt Booty the next Jim Lion Ryan, but at this point he going into the Matt Lion Dingleberry Booty territory at this point, because it's just like, bruh, you got caught lying pretty quickly about
Right.
some things today in your explanation of how things are. And maybe this is why Matt doesn't do social media like that and doesn't speak much. We usually hear from Phil Spencer. We usually hear from Sarah Bond, and they seem way more media PR trained than he is. Maybe he just needs to stick to the studios, but then I don't know. Like let me
Yeah, I'm with you.
let me kind of pull it back because I don't want it to seem like I'm just basically taking shots at Matt Booty left and right. I just
Matt
the
Booty.
guy seemed to have failed upward,
Oh Lord, fail
because
upward fail. Come
he
on now.
went from running Xbox Game Studios to now running Xbox Game Studios, ZeniMax Media, and ABK.
That's true.
What did he deliver on Xbox Game Studios that made him worthy of that?
Right place, right time.
Is that a game?
Oh, it's doing what you said he was doing. Born on third base.
Oh boy, yeah. See now, that
You
takes this
like that
into a
one, don't
different.
you? Born on
No,
third base.
because that has been used to kind of describe a lot of people that tend to. Hey, but we're gonna move on. We're gonna just move on. Look. because
Hey,
because
don't
because
be.
we about to get into a different topic. I would like them for them to be better at explaining things to the media where the lies aren't as obvious. It was clear to people who were kind of into these things that Mike Ybarra probably was not like the most popular dude at Microsoft, and him coming back under the fold probably ruffled some feathers the wrong way. But in
Probably.
some of your statements, like when it shouldn't be this easily debunked. Saying that you reassign people when you actually laid them off should not happen, period. And so I would like to see that happen better. I don't think there's anything they can actually do to stop the layoffs. And frankly, I'm fine with them canceling games. I'm a state assistant. I'm fine with you canceling games that are going to suck. Unlike a lot of people, I had no problem with them canceling Scalebound because I thought Scalebound looked like trash. I never thought it looked good. So when they said they canceled it, I was like, all right, good. That game looks like it's going to suck. And I was kind of shocked to see all the outrage about it.
Mostly because that's
I
what you
think
had
I
those
think
games back then. That's why.
well, true, but like, do you want to play a bad game just because they got no games? I don't know,
I
right?
mean,
So it's just it's more about really what I'm. It's more about
what's Redfall?
a bad game.
Couldn't have been worse than that.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to do that again, right? So it's just the
I
reason why
agree.
I'm bringing it up is that it's that this is a step in the right direction. If the game was going to be a fail and it was going to take you're going to spend millions upon millions only for it to be something that you didn't believe in, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And so, yeah, let's
The kaiju fights.
hopefully have and I know there are people who are just like, but that Blizzard quality that Blizzard quality,
Well, that been
that
dead
Blizzard
for so
seal of
long.
that has been dead for about like almost as long as it was they was developing this game. Blizzard has not had that seal of quality in so long. Like what they did with Overwatch 2 was egregious. The Diablo 4 was a good time, but typically even though it was a good game, it wasn't nothing groundbreaking from a Diablo game. And usually Blizzard used to give you that groundbreaking, massive enhancements with their sequels, even their new IPs. Blizzard used to be, and maybe this is kind of going back to them getting back to that, the kind of studio that would cancel a game that was almost ready for release because it didn't meet their level of quality. So, but Blizzard hasn't been meeting that level of quality either, period. And Overwatch 2 might as well be called Overwatch 1.25 because that game was nowhere near close to a sequel, nor did they deliver on anything that they said that game was going to be. They got to get back to being who they were. And I don't know if I don't think Mike Ybarra leaving is getting them there. Who knows? Like they said they'll be announcing who the new leader of at Blizzard is next week.
I am.
It's yeah.
I am the Blizzard. That Blizzard love hasn't been there since 2008 when Wrath of the Lich King came out. When they had that beautiful cinematic, and it looked like a movie, and I was like, "This is gorgeous." Hasn't been the same since the very beginning cutscene of StarCraft 2 when you saw Kerrigan on the planet being attacked by the Zerg rush and literally being left on the planet to die. And you got that feeling that this would have been incredible if they actually would have came out with StarCraft Ghost. So there's a lot of different things that Blizzard, like, you used to look forward to a Blizzard release because you knew you were going to be treated to some amazing story and some amazing cutscene that was going to get you super hyped for the game you were going to play. And that's just disappeared 100%. But I will always be the person, especially now that they're owned by Microsoft. The only thing I want from them is to revitalize StarCraft Ghost and give me a Kerrigan story that everybody knows that they won't, because StarCraft has been dead for far too long, and they don't have to bring the RTS back But they do need to do something with that character because that was an amazing character that they have in their coffers. And but when it comes to Blizzard and the things that Blizzard used to do and get people excited for, remember this is the same studio that when they had BlizzCon and they showed off Diablo Immortals, and a guy came up and says, "Are y'all kidding? Are you?" What did he say in the thing? What did he say?
Is
Are
this an
y'all?
out of
Is
season April Fool's joke?
yeah, he said this out of yeah, exactly. This is what happened.
We
Literally in
might
a
have a even more of a messy BlizzCon later this year with the way
yeah, we
things are
might.
going.
It might be even messier, but the fact that your biggest fans literally said, "Is this an April Fool's joke?" in the middle of the stand with in front of the developers. It was funny. It was classic. But that's just where they are, unfortunately. So let's hope Xbox can turn it around. Maybe I choose to believe that the cancellation of this game was because Microsoft is learning and they know that this game is going to be tied, whatever this is going to be tied to them going forward, and they don't have the cachet to be able to endure another Redfall, like you said. But it still doesn't change the fact that I feel like the people, if those people were let go, you could have found something else for those people to do due to the fact that Game Pass that it desires content, and all you talk about is wanting to give as much content to Game Pass, and those people could have found a use or something inside of those four walls at Xbox and Microsoft.
I have a thought, and then we can end this.
Yeah.
It's about ABK, and so
AB, which part of
I'm looking
ABK?
at that
The A
tweet.
or the B?
The A,
Oh, the
the
A. Okay, got you.
always the A.
Always the A.
Okay,
Oh.
look, that was a joke. Okay, look, I'm looking at a tweet from Charlie Intel on Twitter. Charlie Intel is a Twitter
Oh,
account that's focused on
that's a
Call of
Call of
Duty.
Duty one. Yep.
Right. The tweet says that there have been posts from almost every Call of Duty studio about layoffs. Employees from Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, Software, Treyarch, High Moon Studios, and more laid off. And then I saw something that someone had said where they were wondering if Microsoft would start to cut costs when it comes to the development of Call of Duty. They may use more external contractors than using the in-house developers that have been a part of the machine that keeps Call of Duty going every year. I would really hope that would not be the case. Now, I understand that maybe like you may want to skip a year sometimes in order to make sure that our level of quality is there. But you don't want to follow a game development philosophy that didn't work for Halo as far as content goes. And in between Halo Guardians and Halo Infinite, how many Call of Duties came out? Like that's just I'm hopeful that that's not the case, because that would be extremely problematic. And look, for the future, when it comes to your question about this, let Call of Duty what Call of Duty does. We've seen this so many times where a publisher or a big entity acquires a smaller entity, and then they start telling that smaller entity how to do their job. But that smaller entity is better at doing that kind of work than they are. Shut up and let them cook. Let them do what they do, because what they do is better than you.
And
let
more
them do their
consistent,
job.
too.
Yes, let them do their job, and you just collect the money and be quiet. Because when you start interjecting in and you're messing up the process, and clearly you don't understand the process because you don't have that level of success, you're going to mess everything up. Don't do that, and just work on getting your games out and from ZeniMax Media and Xbox Game Studios and the Xbox Publishing, get those games out and leave Activision Blizzard King alone. Okay, you had to do the layoffs. I get it. I understand it. No, none of us like it, but it is what it is. It's business. Now at this point, let them do what they do. So that's all I gotta say on that, man. You ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at this picture of Mike Ybarra and Phil Spencer.
And Phil Spencer, yeah, yeah.
With
The
all
picture's like,
these,
"Look,
with all
we're
these,
so
with all
happy."
these people, and then Cliff Blazinski on the side says that's a lot of white people. God dang, dog, this is crazy. That's a lot of happy people. Well,
Right.
that wasn't even. Guess what, Slow Mo? That wasn't even 4 months ago. That wasn't even 4 months ago.
It was all
bro.
good just a week ago. Hey, so look, so for
All
everyone,
before Halloween.
we appreciate you guys being patient with us with this last little transition we just did. It seems to have worked, and maybe hopefully it will be as seamless as it was this week, next week when Forte is hosting, and then we switch over to DPS for the final topic. But again, for those who don't know, we're doing this because we want the DPS channel to be the only place where you go to the podcast. Me and Forte's channels are very different. We do different content, and we think it kind of what DPS does and what it is. It doesn't always work with the kind of other content that we have and the way YouTube's algorithms are. It makes it difficult for the podcast to reach all the audiences that we want to reach, as well as our other content to reach all the audiences that we want to reach. So trying to keep things separate the way we originally intended things to be, but the transition of getting there wasn't as fast as we would like it. And hopefully this kind of pushes things along, and we can get back to focusing things on our channels the way we have always intended to do so. But great podcast today. Thank you everyone for coming through. Forte, let everyone know what's going on in your channel over the next week. You got any videos in the tuck?
Actually, yeah, got a couple. Was going to talk about the Activision stuff this weekend. So a lot of stuff I said today, but probably a little bit more. I won't say craziness, but just stuff that probably want to say on that. And then just getting back
Yeah,
to
real
playing some
quick.
more fucking. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Subscribe to the channel. Someone in the chat said, "Hey, tell people to subscribe." Yeah, you're right. Yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Right.
Go ahead, Forte.
Yeah. But outside of that, yeah, just get back to playing some games and stuff like that. And make sure you guys, like you said, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing this again next week. It actually worked really well, being able to shout out to I think we got up to 39 people. We were at 49 on the original stream, and we got it up to 39 over here. So we only had like a 10-person drop off, which you always expect a little bit of a drop off when you do stuff like that. But I think it's just good just so we get people used to coming to this channel. And then once we get everybody acclimated, we could just go live on this channel and not even have to worry about impacting other channels like Slow-Mo said. But with that being said, we really appreciate all of you guys. You guys definitely show out and show up for us, and we appreciate that. But when it comes to channel members from my side, I got your boy Roy, FTW, Donnell Brown, Erodimus, Basement Brap Radio Arcade Podcast, Stardust Acero, Ramon Terrell, Hargi Chini, Corey Hill, Slow-Mo Backslap, DJ Oris, and that guy Smitty. Really appreciate you guys supporting us in that way. And the one thing is, we will announce once we get ready to move everything over to the DPS channel. We'll give everybody a heck of a lot of future notice on that, so people can like move their channel memberships and stuff over to this channel if they want to, when we finally do get the join button over here. And so people can know if they want to, if you want to support everywhere you can, but that's definitely not required or anything. But we would give everybody a chance to get their stuff moved over so they can have their badges and stuff over here too. But it won't be the same thing as it is on our channel because there's no way to move like the yearly badges. People just have to earn those all over again. But
We'll
just
we'll,
know
we'll
that
probably
you
do
are who you
something.
are.
We'll probably do something like a founder or like a. You guys will have a different like role. Like, well,
Right.
we could
Yeah.
definitely do that for the people who are members on our on the individual channels. When we switch over, we'll make you like a founder or something. We'll get something nice. We'll figure it out. Look, we'll do it later. We'll figure it out.
Right. Exactly. But
For myself,
other than that, for yourself, Slomosa.
I'm still working on the Exodus video. I'm almost done with that. So you'll see that in a few days on my channel. On the DPS channel, I'm still streaming my replay of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I likely would do the next one tomorrow. So come check it out. Tomorrow will be part 6. And this is the part that's probably going to get be a bit of a tearjerker for some of you sensitive types, because probably gonna be a lot of dead bodies in this one. So, but definitely come through. I really appreciate it. And we're going to get up out of here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening and play some games. We out.
Peace.